Salutations from space and aloha from Earth, friends. Gemini Brett here to talk about a really useful astronomy app. Here in this dawning of the age of Aquarius and the advent of so much technology, sometimes our computer systems can really help us connect to astrology and even to sacred astronomy, although that, of course, is always much better done on the big screen outside than on a small screen like this. Anyway, one of my favorite astronomy apps is this app called Dice, because I've created sun, moon, and rising sign die, and I can just let them roll and tune into what are the energies of Earth at a time when the sun is in Gemini and the moon in Capricorn and Aquarius is on the rise. But let's start with just the sun. So many astrologers do. And it's a great way, of course, for us to tune into the season of the year. So to do so, I'm going to be employing the tropical zodiac and also the so-called natural zodiac. There's a world with two Cancer suns. So let me try that again. Just one sun, please. Okay. So the sun and the sign called one. Eventually, maybe I'll figure out how to put the astrology glyphs on these die. But I'm employing the so-called natural zodiac, where Aries is the first sign. There's a good astronomical reason for that. One of the names for the signs in the day was the houses, actually. But at some point in time, they were known as the terrestrial houses, where these things, the places that we call houses today, were the celestial houses, like the houses of the sky. Though, of course, 6 of those celestial houses are below the ground, right? But that the signs, the tropical signs, the terrestrial houses, they are Earth's houses. And it has something to do with our crystal core, I would suggest, but that's a long tale for another time. Anyway, I will use the so-called natural zodiac design, where one refers to the sign of Aries. Okay, so an Aries sun now depends on where you are on Earth, but whether north or south of the equator, we can say this is equinox time. And I'm going to be tuning into this in the land where I currently live, or from that point of view. I live 38 degrees north of Earth's equator in the Bay Area of California, where Aries brings that sun to rising due east and setting due west and culminating at a altitude halfway between the winter depths and the summer heights. This is the resurrection of the light when the days begin growing longer than the nights. Yeah. Springtime. We're coming out of the winter. Some of those early flowers have already surprised you, but things are about to start moving their way towards full bloom. Yeah. So simple sun sign astrology. What's it like when the sun is in the number 9, which I will refer to as Sagittarius, the last sign of autumn? The nights have grown incredibly long, the days very short. So I'm not sure if the sun is rising or if it's midday or the sun is setting, unless I bring in a die for the Earth. And I'll say that the ascendant, the rising sign, is the best way to tune into Earth on the chart, right? So now that I have a rising sign, and that's Capricorn, the Earth die here, number 10, and I see the sun is in Sagittarius, now I know what time of day it is, because 9 comes before 10. Sagittarius rises before Capricorn. This is the end of autumn here in the Northern Hemisphere, and the sun has recently risen. So it was a long and potentially very cold night. I mean, maybe it's wet out at this time of the year, but the sun has risen. It's climbing up from the southwest horizon onto a low track through the sky. But it's, in a sense, the beginning of winter. From a seasonal perspective, the last month of autumn, I mean, this might be December 20th, right? It might be very much just right on the verge of winter solstice. but it's also like the springtime of the day, for the sun has climbed from the hidden place below the ground into this place we associate with hidden things, the 12th. Why is the 12th hidden things? That's why. At night, you can tell time with the stars. By day, when the big star called Ars rises from the first below ground into the 12th above, the sun rises to illuminate the earth, but when he does, he hides the sky, the 12th hidden things. And so we're experiencing this mysterious force. Capricorn is on the rise, and we might be interested as astrologers to look to see where Saturn is. Well, I don't have a Saturn die, okay? But I do know that the sun is in the place where Saturn is said traditionally to rejoice, the 12th. And that means it's just after sunrise. All right, let's play again. The sun in Aries once again. Okay, so back to where we began in this resurrection of the light, the springtime, sun, first season of the spring here in the northern hemisphere, the sun in Aries. But now we have more context because we see that Aquarius is on the rise. So what time of day or night is it if Aquarius is the ascendant and the sun is in Aries? Is it a day chart or a night chart? Is the sun above the horizon or below? And the answer is below. Aries is the third sign of Aquarius. Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, right? So this is a very revolutionary chart. Aquarius is on the rise. We want freedom. We want equality, and we're willing to fight for it, says that Aries sun. And Aries sun in the third. Well, the pen, my friends, is mightier than the sword. Let's roll them again. The Scorpio sun, Libra rising. So is it daytime or nighttime? This is a nighttime chart, right? Scorpio, 8, rises after Libra, 7. So this is the sun in the second. Some early birds might be up singing, but hopefully we're all sleeping and enjoying the comforts of shelter in this middle of the autumn time where the leaves have fallen from the trees and those bare branches wish to host the fruits of our dreams instead of anything physical. All right. Well, I guess if it's a nighttime chart, we should bring in the sect light, which of course, when the sun is below the horizon, is the moon. So now we have a Scorpio sun, Libra rising, and the moon's in Aries. Where is the moon? Which house is the moon in? In a Libra rising chart, that Aries moon is in the 7th. It's the nighttime. So if we woke up early, or look, let's face it, Scorpio, if we stayed up real late, we're looking at this moon rising. What's her phase? And how Martian is this chart? And what would Venus say with her sign of Libra on the rise to find that the lights are an Aries moon reflecting Scorpio sun to Earth? Well, that Aries moon setting into the west is a very Libra vibe. It's such a beautiful thing. What is the phase of the moon? Is she waxing or is she waning? Well, Scorpio sun, so where would the full moon be? And the answer is in Taurus. Aries moon is the sign before. This is a waning gibbous moon, the waning quincunx moon, if we want to speak astrologically, who is here setting sometime a few hours before sunrise. Sun, moon, and rising sign, and you can do so much astronomy as well as doing so much astrology, right? I mean, this and this alone will determine the tides. Feel into that. All right, so here we are, Capricorn rising, an Aquarius moon, and a Pisces sun. Which of the lights will rise first? Have they risen yet? No, this is night once again. And we have this waning sliver crescent moon, Hecate's bow, who will rise like a smile, Aquarius, in the southeast. Before a less south of east, though south of east, Pisces sun rises to follow that smile, knowing that at this time of year, The resurrection soon comes. This is the last month of Northern Hemisphere winter. Yeah. And the last days of a lunation that either began with a new moon in Pisces or likely a new moon in Aquarius. And the moon has returned to that place of the new moon seed to celebrate with this sliver smile soon after this time, because Capricorn's on the rise, Aquarius will rise next, and then Pisces. The moon is in a sextant house and the sun in the cadent third, falling away from the IC. We've had enough of that middle of the night, and the sun has begun his daily climb, but from an invisible place below the horizon. All right, last one. Sagittarius sun. Taurus on the rise, and a Gemini moon. How wonderful. A full moon who is in the second house, meaning that the sun is in the eighth. That was an easier way, perhaps, to get to the place of a Sagittarius sun in a Taurus rising design. Another way I would usually go if I wasn't favored by the light of a full moon is that Taurus is rising, so Scorpio is setting in what sets after Scorpio, but Sagittarius. So if Scorpio is the seventh, Sagittarius is the eighth. Yeah. So here we are, last month of the Northern Hemisphere autumn, going into the darkness. But the Gemini moon, as low as that Sagittarius sun, danced through the Northern Hemisphere sky in this late month of autumn time. As high the Gemini moon will be, that Gemini moon rising extremely north of east, when the Sagittarius sun will set extremely south of west. And at that time, this is full moon, moon rising at sunset. But we really get to see the truth of opposition at times like this. The highest full moons are in the December solstice time, right? When the sun is lowest in the sky, the moon is opposite in all ways, the moon rising at sunset, culminating at midnight in the Gemini sign in the Northern Hemisphere sky is the one, along with Cancer, so the two that are on high. Right, so Taurus rising, and we're about to prepare for a gigantic moon rising on a short day, Sagittarius time, which means a long night, plenty of time for this giant Gemini moon to shine Sagittarius light to Earth. Diana delivered Apollo's birth on Earth. It is the moon that delivers sunlight to our eyes. Thanks for playing with the astronomy dice, friends. This is your friendly astronaut Gemini Brett signing off. I will see you in space.